There are places in the world where life feels like a losing battle. Places you really don't want to live. Cities where every breath feels heavy, every step uncertain, and every day is a test of endurance. Where gangs roam the streets with impunity. Rain brings inevitable floods because of their titanic amount of waste clogging gutters. And where hope is simply in short supply. These are places where millions of people live, work, and raise families under conditions most of us can't even imagine. Think where you live is bad? You have no idea. So tonight we're going to dive into some of the most uh, worst cities to ever call home. And we're going to start with Damascus. One of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities, Damascus is now a symbol of devastation. For over a decade, Syria has been engulfed in a brutal civil war that has turned its capital into a shadow of its former self. Streets, once bustling with markets and life, are now pockmarked with bomb craters and abandoned buildings. The war has left millions displaced, families torn apart, and a country in ruins. The numbers here are staggering. The conflict has claimed over 500,000 lives and displaced more than half the population. Damascus bears the brunt of this devastation. With its infrastructure in tatters, electricity and clean water are luxuries. Healthcare is a nightmare. Hospitals often targeted in the fighting. Education is a distant dream for children forced into survival mode. Crime and corruption run rampant as desperation drives people to extreme measures. Even those lucky enough to escape the city's violence face poverty, unemployment, and the near impossible task of rebuilding their lives. Yet you probably heard that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for this battered city. Syrian rebels have finally managed to dislodge President Assad, and for the first time in decades, optimism seems to be sweeping through the country. But let's not start booking our holiday breaks there just yet. The Syrian rebels comprise a patchwork of groups, some with vastly differing ideas. They agreed to hate Assad, but what happens now is unclear. Part of it is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a group that evolved from the al-Nusra Front, itself a former al-Qaeda offshoot, which many countries have labeled as terrorists. Another group was the Turkish-backed Syrian militias called the Syrian National Army. And anytime a nation starts heavily funding groups in another nation, difficult questions need to be asked. I genuinely hope that what comes next for Syria is good. The people deserve it. But with competing ideologies, some of which lie dangerous close to extremism, it's a dicey moment for Syria. From the war-torn streets of Damascus, we shift to the suffocating chaos of Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. Dhaka is home to over 22 million people. It's one of Earth's most densely populated cities. Every square meter of space seems claimed. Traffic snarls can stretch for hours, and the air often feels more toxic than it does breathable. Pollution is one of the city's defining features. Once lifelines for commerce and daily life, the city's rivers are now choked with industrial waste and untreated sewage. The air pollution is equally horrifying. It frequently ranks among the world's most polluted cities, with thick smog obscuring the sun. Respiratory diseases are a common consequence of simply existing for those who live here. Infrastructure is another nightmare. The city's roads are perpetually congested. The drainage systems are overwhelmed by even light rains. And frequent outages plague its power grid. Add to this the grinding poverty faced by millions of its residents, and the picture becomes even bleaker. To round it off, Dhaka is horribly situated. The city's vulnerability to natural disasters stems from its unique location and urban challenges. Positioned in a low-lying delta, the city is surrounded by three major rivers, Gangzi, Brahmaputra, and the Meghna. During the monsoon season, heavy rains often cause these rivers to swell, leading to significant flooding in the city and its surrounding areas. Unplanned urbanization has only worsened the problem. Wetlands and floodplains that used to absorb excess water have been replaced by concrete structures, leaving nowhere for the rainwater to drain. This results in prolonged waterlogging, even during moderate rainfall. In 2007, flooding made 9 million people homeless, and approximately 1,000 people died from drowning and waterborne diseases. Next is Lagos. If chaos had a capital, much might just be Lagos, Nigeria's largest city and its economic hub, with a population of over 21 million people. Lagos is a city that never sleeps, partly because it's too loud and partly because survival demands constant vigilance. Infrastructure is one of the city's biggest failures. Power outages are so frequent that owning a generator isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The city's roads, a maze of potholes and traffic jams, can even turn a short commute into an hours-long ordeal. And then there's the flooding. Poor drainage systems mean that entire neighborhoods can transform into lakes during Nigeria's rainy season, forcing residents to wade through knee-deep, trash-filled water. The real danger lies in the city's crime rate. Armed robberies, kidnappings, and scams are common. The local police are often underfunded, overwhelmed, or just complicit. Residents live with constant anxiety, never knowing if they'll make it through the day unscathed. Next up is Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, a city that has become a global symbol of economic collapse. Once one of South America's wealthiest cities, Caracas has spiraled into chaos over the past 2 decades, with hyperinflation, food shortages, and violence now defining daily life there. The statistics are truly grim. Venezuela's inflation rate is so high it's measured in the thousands of percent, making basic necessities like bread and medicine almost unattainable. And in the city, crime is rampant. The city constantly ranks as one of the most dangerous in the world, with murder rates that dwarf most war zones. Armed gangs patrol entire neighborhoods, and kidnapping has become a booming business. Even the basics of life are a challenge. Water and electricity are sporadic, and healthcare is almost non-existent. Hospitals lack even the most essential supplies, forcing families to scavenge for medicine on the black market. Education has become a distant memory for many children, as families prioritize survival over school. And then we have Port-au-Prince. Haiti has rather sadly become synonymous with bad luck, horrendous corruption, and violence. Port-au-Prince, the capital, is a city that has become battered by natural disasters and systemic poverty for decades. The scars of the 2010 earthquake, which killed over 200,000 people, are still visible today, not just in the crumbled buildings, but in the lives of its residents. Infrastructure in the city is barely functional. Clean water is a rarity. Sanitation systems are nearly non-existent, and electricity is unreliable at best. Streets are often blocked by rubble, and slums sprawl endlessly, housing the millions who can't afford anything else. Health crises, from cholera outbreaks to malnutrition, are constant. And then there's the political instability. Gang violence has taken over large parts of the city, making travel dangerous and extortion a daily threat. Corruption runs deep, and the government struggles to provide even the most basic services. For many, survival depends on international aid, which itself is inconsistent and often mismanaged. Haiti has experienced a significant surge in gang-related violence throughout 2024, exacerbating the nation's ongoing political and security crisis. Armed groups now control approximately 80% of the city, leading to widespread instability and humanitarian challenges. In early December, a particular brutal incident occurred in the city's Salino neighborhood. A gang led by Monel Mecano Felix massacred at least 184 individuals, primarily elderly practitioners of Haiti voodoo, in a retaliatory attack following the death of the gang leader's son. The escalating violence has severely impacted essential services. Hospitals have been attacked, with facilities like Bernard Mev's Hospital suffering significant damage, including the destruction of operating rooms and laboratory equipment. And then let's travel to Kabul. There was once a time when Kabul was known as the Paris of Central Asia, a place of beautiful, elegant buildings, delightful gardens, and liberal thinking. In short, not a bad place to live. But that all changed rather dramatically in 1996. The Taliban moved in and imposed a strict form of Sharia law across Afghanistan. Then came the country's involvement with Osama bin Laden, which saw the United States do its best to bomb the country back to the Stone Age. Things did improve in Kabul after the U.S. invasion that pushed out the Taliban, but after a whopping $2 trillion spent in 20 years of shaky peace, if you can even call it that, things have gone right back to where they started. The Taliban's return to power in 2021 has plunged the city into a new chapter of uncertainty. Freedoms that had been slowly gained over the past 2 decades, particularly for women, have been stripped away, and fear permeates daily life. Security is fragile, with bombings and targeted violence still a constant threat. Even beyond the immediate dangers, necessities like food and electricity are in short supply. With the economy in freefall and millions facing starvation, infrastructure in Kabul barely functions. Roads are crumbling, healthcare is nearly non-existent, and public services have all but collapsed. Education has simply become a luxury, particularly for girls and women, as oppressive laws curtail their access to schools. And then let's all head over to Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea. It's often listed among the least livable cities in the world, so we hope you don't live there. The city faces alarmingly high crime rates, including violent offenses like armed robbery and assault. Many residents live in constant fear, and even business struggles to operate securely. Personal safety is a daily concern for locals and visitors alike, creating a sense of unease across the city. Next, infrastructure, or the lack of it. A significant portion of the population lives in informal settlements. These areas often lack clean water, proper sanitation, and reliable electricity. Daily life can be incredibly difficult without these basic necessities, and health issues are widespread. Adding to these struggles is the high cost of living. Despite limited access to goods and services, residents pay shockingly high prices for essentials like food, housing, and transportation. For many, meeting their basic needs is a constant battle. Employment is another major issue. Job opportunities are scarce, especially for young people. This contributes to poverty, and in some cases, it pushes people towards illegal activities just to survive. It's a very hard cycle to break. Healthcare is also a challenge. Medical facilities are often underfunded and understaffed, leaving many residents without the care they need. When health emergencies arise, the systems just can't keep up. Environmental challenges also complicate life in Port Moresby. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion threaten homes and infrastructure, especially in the city's vulnerable coastal areas. The impact of climate change are becoming simply harder to ignore. Now let's get out of Port Moresby and head on over to Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi is Pakistan's largest city and financial hub. It's a place where opportunity and chaos collide. With a population of over 15 million, Karachi is a sprawling, fast-paced, and for many harsh place to call home. Infrastructure is one of Karachi's biggest challenges. Power outages are so frequent that blackouts are just a normal part of life. The city's drainage systems are overwhelmed during the monsoon season, submerging entire neighborhoods in floodwaters. Public transportation is chaotic, with dilapidated buses and overcrowded routes turning commutes into daily battles. Safety is another concern. While crime rates have improved in recent years, Karachi remains plagued by gang violence, muggings, and political unrest. Kidnappings and extortion are still common, and residents often navigate the city with a mix of caution and determination. The city has long grappled with gang-related violence, particularly in areas like Layari. Historically, it was notorious for brutal gang war involving figures such as Arshad Papu and Uzair Balak, leading to significant loss of life and community disruption. In recent years, targeted law enforcement operations have subdued some of this violence. However, challenges persist. The city witnessed a resurgence in street crime with approximately 45,000 incidents reported in the first 8 months of 2024, contributing to a pervasive sense of insecurity. The city's complex socio-political landscape, economic disparities, and ethnic tensions continue to fuel various forms of violence. While law enforcement agencies have made strides in curbing organized gang activities, the rise in street crime and targeted attacks underscores the need for comprehensive strategies addressing the root cause of violence in Karachi. You want to get out of Karachi? How about we go head over to Tripoli, Libya's capital, and it's a city scarred by years of civil war and political chaos. Once a prosperous Mediterranean hub, Tripoli has become a shadow of its former self. Crumbling infrastructure, rampant corruption, daily uncertainty dominating life. The collapse of central governance has divided the city into rival factions, each vying for control. Public services are practically non-existent. Streets are littered with garbage, power outages are routine, and access to clean water is unreliable. For many residents, getting through the day requires navigating a web of militia checkpoints and constant danger. In August 2023, intense fighting between militias in Tripoli resulted in at least 55 deaths and over 100 injuries. The ongoing political turmoil has severely affected Tripoli's economy. Disputes over control of oil revenues have led to shutdowns, impacting national income and causing economic hardships for residents. In August 2024, political standoff led to the suspension of all oil production, exacerbating economic instability. Unemployment is high, and many families rely on remittances from relatives abroad to survive. The presence of various armed groups has led to reports of human rights abuse, including unlawful detentions, torture, and restrictions on freedom of expression. Civilians often find themselves caught in the crossfire during militia clashes, featuring threats to their safety and security. What's that you say? You don't want to live in Tripoli? Okay. Did you ever consider San Pedro Sula? Finally, we arrive in San Pedro Sula in Honduras, a city often referred to as the murder capital of the world. For years, it has been plagued by extreme violence, poverty, and corruption, making it one of the most dangerous places to live. The statistics are truly grim. San Pedro's homicide rate, though declining in recent years, remains one of the highest globally. Gang violence is rampant, with rival groups like MS-13 and Barrio 18 controlling neighborhoods and extorting businesses. The fear of kidnappings, robberies, and random violence is a constant shadow over daily life. The city's infrastructure is in shambles. Hurricane flooding and poor drainage systems frequently displace families, while healthcare and education systems are severely underfunded. Many residents see no future in San Pedro and risk their lives to join caravans heading north, hoping for a better life. If you've ever wondered why people risk their lives crossing the Rio Grande into the United States, it's because of what's happening at home, because of places like San Pedro Sula. And that is our list of places that you do not want to call home. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like the video, hit that subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos.